Welcome to the Focus TV. This week's installment is titled Season 5, Episode 48. We have Octavia Wyatt here, Raymond Lyons, and Wilson Turpay Jr. Again, welcome to this week's edition of the Focus TV. We got a lot to get through. Gonna have some extended NFL discussions because why not? The Wizards had an open practice earlier this evening. They played last night. Gonna get Ray's thoughts on that. Gonna kind of wrap a nice little bow on the end of DC United season since it is officially ended. That's it. We're gonna start with the Jim Couch event. Again, it's that time of year again on the weekend of October 15th through 16th. In 2016, some of the best high school programs and players from North America would descend on New York City to participate in the Jim Couch National Training Showcase presented by Combinator Magazine. The event, benefiting the Jim Couch's Foundation's free basketball conditioning clinic and wellness programming, is in its 10th year and has been attended by USA Basketball, NBA personnel, and celebrities. Saturday's program starts at 12 noon at Mott Haven Educational Complex located at 730 Concourse Village West, Bronx, in the Bronx, New York. Sunday's program starts at 11 a.m. and goes to 6 p.m. Brandywine Boys, aka Gwynn Park High School, out of Maryland, defending Virginia 6A state champs team, also known as Hayfield High School, will represent the DMV in the New York City versus DMV High School Challenge games, and top participants will play in the inaugural Canada versus USA Challenge. Past high school participants in this event include Mount Vernon High School, Evangel Christian High School, Crestwood Academy, Virginia Academy, Eleanor Roosevelt High School, John Carroll High School, and Mater D High School. Past NBA participants include Tobias Harris, Kemba Walker, Cole Anthony, Isaiah Stewart, Peyton Pritchard, Thomas Bryant, Wendell Carter, Muhammad Bamba, PJ Washington, and Moses Brown. So looking forward to another wonderful event this year. Can't wait to see what Cardell has for us once he returns from that event. That said, Octavia, the NFC East, another week. You guys, most of you guys in the division, continue to win. Can't speak for everybody. Doesn't get that claim. So, what you got this week in the NFC East?
That's funny. First of all, shout out to Glen Park, it's my alma mater, so do great things up there. But yeah, like you said, it's so funny to me because I keep hearing, we're going from the NFC East to the NFC Beast, and I'm just like, that still sounds so weird. Like it's just weird to even say. But yeah, it's another week in the NFC East. This week, New York Giants played against the Green Bay Packers across the pond in the UK. And I think everybody was surprised that the New York Giants defeated the Green Bay Packers 27-22. Daniel Jones was 21 of 27, 217 yards, 10 carries for 37 yards. Saquon Barkley had 13 carries for 70 yards, one touchdown, and 3 receptions for 36 yards. Gary Brightwell had 2 carries for 5 yards and 1 touchdown, and Daniel Bellinger had 2 receptions for 22 yards and 1 carry for 2 yards and a touchdown. And Darius Slayton, 6 receptions, 79 yards. The Giants, who are now 4-1, scored 17 unanswered points in the second half. As Daniel Jones, who was also playing on a sprained ankle that he had from last week, led all 3 of their scoring drives to erase a 20-10 deficit that they had early on in the game. It's the Giants' best start since 5-0 in 2009, and matches their win totals from last season. So last season they finished the year at 4-13. They've already matched that, so hopefully they can outdo it for themselves going forward. After back-to-back 3-and-outs to start the game, the Giants scored on 5 consecutive possessions, and they were 6 of 11 on their third downs. So they were pretty efficient across the pond. They had a really, really good game. Daniel Jones is actually playing pretty well, despite missing a lot of his top-tier talent. I do the air quotes because it's the top-tier talent that they have on their team, not necessarily top-tier in the entire NFL. And even with missing Saquon for an extended period of time during the game, he had a shoulder injury where they thought he wouldn't return. He did end up coming back in the game and scoring a touchdown after that. They were also without Kenny Golladay, the rookie Wan'Dale Robinson, and Kadarius Toney again for Sunday. And as we know, Sterling Shepard is out with the ACL tear. So that's what we talk about, their top tier talent. The top players that they have are not even there. So they're playing with I don't want to disrespect them by saying this, and I don't mean this in a rude way, but the bottom of the barrel from their barrel. Um, with that, I mean, somebody had to step up for them. Like I said, with all the wide receivers that they're missing, and Darius Slayton by far having his best game of the season. Like I said, 6 receptions, 79 yards. I mean, he had some great catches in this game, so he stood out when they needed him to. And like I said, Daniel Bellinger also was a tight end that I'm pretty sure most of us had never heard of. Um, he's actually having a pretty decent season as well. The Giants entered the game leading the NFL in rushing, a large part because of Saquon Barkley, and they've been averaging 192.5 yards per game. They finished the game with 125 yards rushing, with Barkley having 70 and Daniel Jones having 37. They averaged only 4 yards per carry, but they scored 3 times on the ground. Like I said, one from Barkley, one from Gary Brightwell, as well as Daniel Bellinger. And honestly, their defense came up pretty clutch in the end of the game. The Packers weren't even able to get off a Hail Mary at the end of the game, which we have seen them successfully complete in the past. To get back-to-back tips, to steal the game for them in a game against a powerhouse to them, of course, not saying that the Packers aren't, but when you see the Packers playing against the Giants, 9 times out of 10, you're thinking the Packers going to win. So that's a great win for them. As we can see, Brian Daboll he got him playing well. I actually like the analogy that Wilson said before we started. They're like the grown-up versions of the Detroit Lions. They're playing really hard for their coach, but they're actually winning. So I actually think that was a great analogy. But next week, it's really going to be another test for them. They will be playing against the Ravens. And I don't think Lamar wants to go out like that. So we'll see how that goes for them next week. The other NFC East team that Wilson alluded to is the one that keeps losing. Your Washington Commanders lost against the Tennessee Titans. They lost 21-17. Carson Wentz was 25 for 38, 359 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and 5 carries for 15 yards. Welcome back, Brian Robinson, who had 9 carries for 22 yards. And then De'Ami Brown had 2 receptions for 105 yards and 2 touchdowns. Listening to the stats for Carson Wentz, he had a pretty good game. He threw for 300 plus yards and 2 touchdowns. But it's always his decision making that rears his ugly head at the end of the games or in the most inopportune times. Now, granted, tight linebacker David Long made a great play on the ball at the end of the game for the interception, but this always happens to Carson Wentz. He always ends up in this situation, and it's frustrating if you're a fan to cheer for him in situations like that. I know. I used to be a huge fan. I get it. I've told all of my Washington Commander fan friends, I feel your pain. I was there. I don't know what you guys think is going to be different. And there have been some different comments from Ron Rivera that some people have seen, different ways about what he said. But it's just a sad situation because, like I said, he had a pretty decent game, but to throw an interception literally on the 2-yard line to win the game it's just Carson Wentz like. It's like you can't get away from it. So he just has to change the narrative. He has to start winning in those inopportune times where he's, having those bad plays that's costing them games. It's not that it's just, okay, we can get that back, but it's costing them games. Outside of all the other great things that he's doing, that is being overshadowed by those situations. Their offensive line is still struggling, although they are still shuffling players around. They did just sign Nick Martin off the street, but the offensive line is having a lot of crucial penalties that's also hurting them even more. So the offense all around is just struggling. Jahan Dotson didn't play. This was Brian Robinson, who returned only 6 weeks after he was shot twice in the legs for an apparent carjacking. And he led the way in the round for the Commanders. Now, although 22 yards rushing is nothing to write home about, with the entire team also finishing at 43 yards combined rushing. It's not a great rush day for them. But nevertheless, it was great to see him on the field, and I would expect for him to do more and more as the season continues, to be, lead back. I think he will be eventually. I like Antonio Gibson. He was never a natural running back. Brian Robinson is a natural running back. I think if he stays healthy, and I'm sure, coming back off of being shot in the leg twice, you don't have the same spring in your step that you did before. So he's young, though, so I expect for him to kind of bounce back. Just give him some more time. If he does that, I honestly think he'll overtake Antonio Gibson's starting spot. And another thing that happened in this game, cornerback William Jackson III was benched in the first half as he has struggled all year long. He has been getting burnt like just terribly. So it was the first sign, to see them actually bench him. Like he's been struggling, like I said, in all of the games so far this year. But they're going to need him as time goes on. So he's going to have to be a lot better for them in the secondary if they want to turn it around. And like we talked about, the NFC East is playing so well. To be so far out of, contention already this early in the season is definitely concerning if you're a Washington Commanders fan. Next week I think they'll have a decent chance to win. They play against the Chicago Bears. Now don't get it twisted. Justin Fields can run, so you never know. And I'm still waiting to see if Chase Young is going to grace us with his appearance. If it keeps going the way it's going, I will see him next year because there's no need. Next, we'll talk about both the last two teams played at 425, but I'll start with the Dallas Cowboys played against the Los Angeles Rams and defeated the Rams, defending Super Bowl champions. That's the right way to say it. 22-10. Cooper Rush was 10 of 16, 102 yards and 4 carries for -1 yard. Tony Pollard had 8 carries for 86 yards and 1 touchdown, and CeeDee Lamb had 5 receptions for 53 yards. As well as Cooper Rush is playing, Dallas' defense is the reason they're winning these games. It's just point blank period. Cooper is doing what he needs to do to buy time to make sure that he's not Carson Wentzing the situation. And he's doing well at that. But their defense is they're just playing lights out at this point. They didn't allow any points in the second half and forced 2 turnovers on the Rams' final 2 drives of the game. And all the Cowboys have allowed only 14 first downs, 2 by penalty, and 6 of 17 conversion rate on third down. So the Rams were doing nothing, like absolutely nothing. I mean, they blocked the field goal. They scored on defense. Like I said, they are the reason they're winning. The only small weakness, if you wanted to pinpoint something small, could possibly be their run defense. Although they didn't have to worry about that in this game because the Rams couldn't run the ball either. So all in all, they're having a great season, their defense. And I would like to see what happens when that comes back. I'm glad it's not this week. We will see you next whenever that happens. I don't really care. Another concerning thing is Michael Parsons is apparently nursing a hamstring injury. We saw him nursing it last week, but it seemed like this week it was a little bit more nagging. He has a noticeable limp, and recognized that. I think he even said that, during the game, he told them like, okay, I can't run everywhere, but I can rush the passer. Like, just put me where I can. And it shows you that he's out there playing hard for his team, doing what he can do. He was on the bike for part of the game when he wasn't in. So he's trying to keep that hamstring loose, and I'm sure he's doing everything he can to be ready for Sunday night. And honestly, Tony Pollard should be the running back number 1. I said it. I don't know why nobody else will. I know Ezekiel Elliott is the face. I think Jerry Jones thinks he's the face or one of the faces, and he very well may be. But Tony Pollard is a number 1 running back. He should be. It is what it is. I don't know what else they're going to do. Hopefully they don't do that next, on Sunday night. Just let Ezekiel be it and, sit Tony somewhere down. That's fine too if you want to do that. But if you you want to actually compete in the game, it should be that. Their next game is going to be Sunday night against the Philadelphia Eagles. As you all know, I hate nationally televised games. Hate them with a passion, especially against the Dallas Cowboys. This is the 3rd straight game that we played them, and it's been nationally televised. Both games last year were nationally televised, in which the Dallas Cowboys completely annihilated the Philadelphia Eagles. I will say that. Although the second game, we rested all of our starters, so it is what it is when you want to go there. But the Philadelphia Eagles did play this week against the Arizona Cardinals. They were victorious. They defeated the Cardinals 20-17. Jalen Hurts was 36, I believe. 239 yards, 15 carries for 61 yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. Miles Sanders also 15 carries, 58 yards and 2 receptions for 6 yards. And Dallas Goedert 8 receptions for 95 yards. This is undoubtedly, hands down, the worst game of the season for the Eagles. But they still found a way to pull it out, and that's all that matters. When you can win those ugly games, that matters. There was a lot of situations that could have gone a lot better for the Eagles in this game. And honestly, had it not been for self-inflicted wounds by the Cardinals, we may be singing a different tune this week. But a win is a win, no matter how it happens. Although the Eagles were efficient running the ball, having 139 rushing yards on 33 carries and controlling time of possession, they controlled the ball for 34 minutes and 39 seconds. Kept Kyler Murray, in the Cardinal offense on the sideline for majority of the game, which is another reason why Arizona only had 17 points. Big things to consider going forward. The second half adjustments need to be considered a very high point of focus. The Eagles' second half scoring is either few and far between or completely non-existent. Whether it's taking their foot off the gas or the effort in the second half, it needs to be addressed. I think when they played against the Vikings, they didn't score at all in the second half. They scored all 24 points in the first half. In this game against the Cardinals, they only scored 2 field goals in the second half. So it's been something that, hasn't really bitten them in the butt so far. But we have a really big test coming up Sunday night, so there's definitely something that needs to be addressed. Excuse me. Also, run defense is something that they need to work on, as well as the defense is playing. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson had his first interception as an Eagle this week as well. The Eagles defense gave up his second 100-yard rushing performance of the season with Kyler Murray against Kyler Murray, James Conner, and Benjamin, which was their 3 top rushers in this game for the Cardinals. And tackling was pretty poor as well. Marquise Hollywood Brown, is playing really, really well. I would like to see how that continues when D Hopkins comes back. Not this week, maybe next week. I think he has to sit out a full 6 games and then he'll return in week 7. So that should be interesting to see. And then the last thing, injuries are starting to stack up for the Philadelphia Eagles. Outside of Avonte Maddox, Jake Elliott, and Jordan Mailata were the big names to miss this game. Jason Kelce, as well as Landon Dickerson, also suffered injuries in the game, but it does not appear will keep them out of Sunday night games. I'm glad that our offensive line we have a pretty deep offensive line. So granted, I think they said Kelce hurt his ankle. He only missed 3 snaps, I believe. So he gutted it out. Hopefully they get some rest throughout the week. Jordan Mailata is still nursing a shoulder injury. Jake Elliott had a leg injury as well, who was replaced by Cameron Dicker. So shout out to Cameron Dicker, the kicker they picked up off of the street. It's really tough to pick a kicker as Arizona, because that's the reason they lost the game. Their kicker missed. Our kicker didn't. So, it is what it is. Like I said, their next game is going to be against the Dallas Cowboys. NFC East is outside of the Washington Commanders. They have a 13-2 record. So it's kind of wild. It usually is like 2-13 for the NFC East. So the NFC East is on the uptick. Now, again, I will always be the person to be completely honest. We know that the NFC East has the quote-unquote softer schedule. I believe all 4 teams have the least strenuous schedule. But again, you play the teams that are in front of you. You do what you got to do. And that's all that matters. So I'm looking forward to next week, seeing how the Giants play against the Ravens, see how the Commanders play against, I forgot already who they play.
The Bears.
The Bears. And, of course, if something bad goes wrong, if I'm not here on Tuesday, you know why. So I like I already said, I have friends at work that are Cowboys fans, and I told them, I was like, I'm not coming to work Monday regardless. So don't say nothing to me.
All right, Ray, we got to get you on wax. Just you got the NFC East segment next week. if y'all win.
If y'all win, I'll be I'm not going to live with myself, okay?
Let you know right now what's going to be on the show plan, Ray.
Just prepare. Now, if we win, I will be here with bells on, okay?
Oh, my God. Yo.
I know. I'm a mess.
Twice a season. Gotta love it. All right, we're going to take our first break of the night. When we get back, I'm going to talk to Ray about the Wizards open practice today, preseason game last night. For those of you who didn't get a chance to hear us talk about it on Wizards Outlook, follow the game. You're watching the Focus TV. We'll return shortly. Welcome back to the Focus TV. As promised, Ray, I know you got a chance. You took a trip up to Capital One today, got back safely and soundly. Your thoughts on the open practice today?
Yeah, man. So today the Wizards had their annual open practice, something they do every year. It's it's really the first kind of fan centered event. They just kind of introduce the team. They go through a couple drills. Just give the fans a chance to see the guys and see them do some on court stuff. So yeah, man, it was nice, festive atmosphere. A couple guys addressed the crowd. Johnny Davis, he was introduced and he said some words. And they also, Bradley Beal was honored today. So October 11th is officially Bradley Beal Day in DC. So, that was a big deal. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to attend because he's still in health and safety protocols. But they played a pre-recorded message that he sent, and his family was there to accept the honor on his behalf. So it's good that he was recognized, for not only for, what he does for the team, but his stuff off the court and in the community as well. One of the big things was he's basically adopted a school in DC, Ron Brown High School. So he's really involved with them. He has a lot of FaceTime with those students, and it's just good that he's kind of getting his hands dirty in that way. So yeah, man, it was a good event. Got the kiddies out there to kind of get involved and see what the team is going to kind of look like. So yeah, man, it's always one of my favorite things that happens with the Wizards every year. It's just kind of kick the season off on a high note. Um, so they last night they played Charlotte in a preseason game. It was man, they've been consistent throughout the preseason. It was interesting to see the starting lineup get shaken up a bit, but really wasn't any fall off, and that's kind of what you want to see. No matter who's in, the team maintains their identity and how they want to play. So yeah, Monte Morris, he struggled a little bit shooting the ball. He was 0 for 8, but still had 7 assists. Directed the team, still brought it on the defensive end. Rui, he's been aggressive the whole preseason, man. And if he carries that into the season, then this will it's around that time for players like him is where they usually kind of take that leap, and he looks like he's in position to do that. This year is the first time he's really had an off season. His NBA life has been kind of tumultuous up to this point. So he just had some time to kind of rest and recalibrate, and he looks revived. He looks refreshed. Looks like he's ready to go. They're what they want to do. They always want to remain healthy. Kispert's a little banged up, but it doesn't seem like it's anything too serious, so he'll be back pretty soon. They have their next preseason game on Friday, so we'll catch you guys afterwards for Wizards Outlook for that. But they look good, man. They look good. Of course, it's only preseason. You don't want to take that and run with it, but they're making strides in the right direction in areas that I would like to see them improve in. And it goes without saying, it starts on the defensive end. Not really worried about offense with them. They got guys who can put the ball in the basket, but the defensive end, their communication, their hustle, those are the things that's going to get them, to maximize their potential.
Right. I guess just overall, my last question was just with the what the crowd support looked like tonight. It was a tough time to have that.
Yeah, it was a pretty good turnout, man. Of course, it's not going to be the crowd you get for a game, but the fans came out. It was pretty lively in there. So yeah, and hopefully, typically the Wizards don't really have a bustling home crowd. Hopefully that changes this season, man. But yeah, it was a good turnout. A lot of fans came out, to show their support.
Glad to hear it, because in past years I don't remember it being on like the smack dab in the middle of a weekday evening. Sometimes, but
Right.
like it's just tough. But happy that you're able to get out there. I'm hopeful, and I'm sure that, as you made it seem, that all fans that attended got a chance to enjoy and see them in person, because they didn't have a home preseason game. So if you didn't get a chance to get out there and see them today, well, earlier this evening, you won't see them till next Friday in the home opener, because they start the season out on the road for the most part. All right, DC United, their season's come to a close. I'm trying to make this as I don't know the right way to like even present this. Last game of the season was against FC Cincinnati on Sunday. They fell 5-2. Luciano Acosta, a name that is very familiar to DC United fans here. One of the most memorable moments he had here was game-winning goal, connecting with now coach, then player Wayne Rooney at the end of a game against Orlando. Like it was, that clip always elicits so many wonderful feelings. That said, that had nothing to do with this. He opened the scoring in the 6th minute. All right, throughout an 18-minute stretch, FC Cincinnati would score 3 goals from the 6th to the 24th minute. Lucho got the first. Brenner would score the next 2 goals. The home side would get on the board in the 26th minute from a rocket of a shot from midfielder Ravel Morrison. Brenner would get his 3rd goal of the day, so he got his hat trick in the first half. Coming in the 37th minute. And then one of the youngsters, this is one of the things going into this match, Wayne Rooney had a penchant for doing this at Derby when he was in Derby County, just giving youngsters an opportunity to play. Three youngsters got starts. One of them got their first career start, being Christian Fletcher, 17 years old. He got the first goal of his career in his first MLS start, firing his shot into the far post. Not a bad way to make your debut, regardless of the outcome of the game. Brandon Vasquez would finish the scoring in the 53rd minute for FC Cincinnati. That's what made it 5-2. There was also a farewell to Bill Meade, who hasn't played much this season due to injuries. Congratulations to him and his family. As you know, they just had a newborn. So again, congrats to him and his family on that. He's not expected to be with the club next season, but he was one of the longest tenured homegrowns. He's been here forever. Can't really tell the story of this franchise and leave him out of it, especially as the homegrowns go. So just once again, I know I thoroughly enjoyed my time. Got a chance to cover Bill throughout his career. So, wishing him the best of luck to wherever the next stop is. As far as DC United goes as a whole, look, like I said a couple weeks ago, it's about what happens this offseason, which starts technically yesterday. The playoffs start this weekend. They're not a part of that. We all know why. They were near the bottom of the league in several categories. They got to get better. It's just that simple. Obviously, we saw, it was a tumultuous year with the coaching changes, all that. You need to figure out what direction you're going as far as personnel goes on the field, the philosophies you're going to stick with. And then there's still some of the drama that's coming with this is we're not sure how long Wayne's going to be here. So it's kind of like if you're the club, are you going to continue to open, the pocketbook to a sense and spend more, and you don't even know if I know Wayne has next year and then an option year, but it's not like he's locked in for the next 5 years. You know that for sure. However, we'll see. One thing we know for sure is something has to change. Personnel's, I would expect to change. I wouldn't be shocked if we see more of a younger team. I think we're going to have those polar opposites where you have those veterans that have played overseas with some of these youngsters that are just ready to come out here and tear up, just try to make a name for themselves out here. So we'll see what ends up happening. We're going to transition on to the 9-4-50 breakdown. We got kind of like a double feature 9-4-50 breakdown this week. Got 2 moves that Jamal Hayward will be debuting. We'll be breaking down, rather. We got the jab between, then between cross. So a jab between, then between cross. Then we got, that's followed by another double move. A front change, push, pull back. Again, front change, push, pull back. It's followed by our second break. When we get back, gonna wrap things up talking some NFL because people get fired already. It's like week 6. Carolina, we got to talk about you, which leads us to talk about Washington. Depending on what happens Thursday, are you going to be the new Carolina? We don't know. But you're watching Focus TV. We'll see you guys on the other side of the break.
Today we're going to break down the double move from the wing that guards can use, as well as wings, as well, and some bigs that are mobile and able to put the ball on the floor and feel comfortable. So we're going to work on this double move right now, starting from this one. So you can do it either way. Start going to the left or going to your right. So It incorporates a jab step and then it's a free dribble move. Okay, so jab is the first part. Second part is jab, go between. So go jab between. All right. Either way, jab between. So with the jab, so you want to jab with the movement. Jab with the movement. So that the defender going the opposite way if you want to go. So if I jab right here, jab right between, then comes the double move. So this is the first move. Second move. Third jump shot. So here it is slowly. Stop. So good move to get the defender off balance, and it's not using a lot of dribbles. Here we go. Going the other way. Useful double move that does not incorporate a lot of dribbles. Utilize some body movement and some footwork. Definitely an efficient move. Today we're going to work on another double move. Similar concepts from last week, but a different way of different move, basically. 3 dribbles, max, again. So yes, it's a double move, but at the same time, we're limiting the dribbles so that you can be efficient and get your shot off. And it's a good move. You can use it going both ways. Guards can use it, wings can use it, even bigs that are comfortable putting the ball on the floor. So let's start here at the top of the key. So, all right. So the first part of the move, I call it front chain. You can call it drop cross, misdirection, whatever you want to call it. So I'm coming downhill with the ball in my right hand. Once I drop the ball here, it's a quick drop. Quick drop. I want to shift my body to the right. So now, quick drop here, set. So it's like a jab. So as I quick here, drop here, set. Now, as I drop, step, do not push. So if you watch my feet here, after I drop that dribble, my first step is my right foot. Then when I push the ball to the left direction, my second step is my left foot. So drop, right, left, push, right, left footwork for the shot. But that's not the move. So the second part of the move, which we're going to break down right here, after the drop, jab, push here, pull back. So drop, jab, push, pull back. Now, to make this move really work, this part has to be quick and bottom. Then, this has to be bottom, where we cover a lot of ground. Okay? So when I cover a lot of ground here, I extend this left foot all the way out, stretch, pull back, shot. Now, the way the defense is going to read this, once I drop jab, I'm going to fight for that. I push here fast as a defender to taught to cut the defender off by getting in front of him. So he's going to be racing to get in front of me. I'm pushing in, here, he's racing to get in front of me. He's momentum this way. I stop, wide open shot. Here it is. Same thing other way. So the footwork here is just opposite going the other way. So once I drop that push, shot. Very efficient move, limited dribbles. You're able to get your defender leaning and off balance. Playing.
I want to thank Jamal Hayward for the 9-4-50 breakdown this week. All right, like I said, with the NFL, just want to get to a couple things, man. No, we typically just live in the NFC East. We're gonna take a step outside the NFC East for once. We'll do this once every once in a while this season. Looking at the standings, some divisions are worse off than others. Some divisions are down bad. How about this? The NFC East isn't one of them. So kudos to both of you. No NFC least jokes this time. Washington, you should be ashamed. If it wasn't for you, could possibly be like this is one of the best divisions in football. And we can't even have that discussion because you refuse to let that happen. Look, I'm gonna start with Carolina. Look, I swear the kiss of death in NFL is when the GM comes out and goes, "Oh, we have confidence in you. Oh, by the way, like that's like literally the kiss of death. We have confidence in Matt Rule. Yada yada yada. Punched by the Niners. Get out of here. Just that quick." Then there's been multiple reports this week that like low key might be a fire sale. Like you have the Bills calling about Christian McCaffrey. Like people aren't even being respectful. Like they're not being respectful. Like what you say, Octavia?
I was like, and that's not even fair. Like the Bills, like no.
Y'all were calling too. Stop it.
No, I mean I did see reports. That would be fair. The Bills don't need nothing else, okay?
Man, so you got folks like you got CMC out there. You got Brian Burns, aka Spider-Man, out there. He's the type of dude where he's gonna end up on the Rams if he gets traded. That's the stuff that happens to me in my life. He'll be the Rams' new guy to go opposite Aaron Donald because it doesn't make sense. You got J.C. Horn out there. I don't know what's going to happen with Carolina. What are your thoughts on Matt Rule getting fired that quick? Are you surprised that it happened, or are you kind of surprised that it took this long? Ray, we'll start with you, then Octavia.
I mean, I guess I'm surprised, but that seems like the right move. I mean, it's a results-based business, and he wasn't getting good results, so you shouldn't have a job anymore. It's a pretty straight line, man. But and it's not only that he was losing; it's like they look terrible. Like, and that's the thing, man. Like, if you're like nobody's expecting them to compete for the Super Bowl, like, but at least look like a functioning football team. You know, like given what he had, if he was losing like close games or just a couple things here and there, then maybe the rope's a little bit longer. But it was just utter dysfunction and chaos. So yeah, go ahead and just cut your losses early, man. Why even continue going down that road? Like I wish more franchises would take that approach. Like it's not going to get better. It's obvious it's not going to get better. So get it out the way now. So then you get it out the way now, and maybe that lights a fire under people that are there. You change something around and possibly salvage the season. Is that going to happen? Probably not. But no need to drag this out for what 12, 13 more weeks. Just thank you for your service. Go collect your check at home, and we're going to move forward with somebody who's competent.
Octavia.
I mean, it's a few things I can say about what's going on in Carolina. It's like one, I don't know what y'all thought Baker Mayfield was going to do. Like, let's be real. That's what y'all thought. Y'all thought Matt Rule thought Baker Mayfield was going to save his job. Obviously, that didn't happen. Secondly, and with that, I mean, Robbie Anderson told y'all that like early on. He was like, "No, please don't bring him," but you did it anyway. So now Robbie's like, "I told you so." I mean, granted, I feel like they did it for themselves. I feel like they did it for a multitude of reasons. Number one is because I can't find exactly how much the contract was for, but he signed a 7-year contract, 2 years ago? And the reports are that they're letting him out early because they're like, well, maybe a college will pick him up and they'll pay part of it. So I think it's a little bit of, the reason why it's as early as it is like there's no need to continue doing this. Let's see if he can go somewhere else. Let's see if he can pay for part of that we have already agreed to pay. I don't even know why they did the 7 years. It was just wild. But yeah, I'm honestly not surprised. I mean, what makes it worse is I think the interim coach, Steve Wilkes, like Sam Darnold's been hurt since the beginning of the season. Baker Mayfield's in a walking boot. So he's going to have to start his first game as the interim head coach with PJ Washington. So that should be interesting, nonetheless. But I'm not surprised. Like we talked about this early, like before the season even started, when Matt Rule will come out and say, I have so much faith in Sam Darnold. We're not looking for any other quarterbacks. And poof, there came Baker Mayfield. I just think it was just a mess from top to bottom. And I'm not surprised. I feel like the downfall started, when they had to sell the team, and then it just I don't know what happened in Carolina. I have a lot of Carolina Panther fans as friends, and they hate it, hate everything. So when the news came out about this, they were ecstatic. Um, yeah, I don't know what they're gonna do. Like, I know we joke, but it's out there, about the fire sale. Like they might as well start tanking. Like you might as well, try to. I mean, there's a lot of good quarterbacks next year. You might as well see if you can get you one.
Oh, the best part, I'm sorry, just to share with the taking part, because of past decisions made by the present company, they only have 4 total picks for next year.
Oh, that's even
They
sad.
have a first, a second, a fifth, and a sixth.
Well, then they should really be doing a fire sale and trying to get some picks in this upcoming draft. That's what they need to do. Christian McCaffrey probably could get him a first round pick, maybe a later one, and they could parlay it into something else. But with only 4 picks for next year, I ain't gonna do nothing next year either. So you might as well break it on down, start from the bottom, and figure it out because it ain't it's not there. I feel for. I mean, granted, I feel for Christian McCaffrey, but I don't because he's been hurt so much that he was part of the issue as well. Granted, nobody wants to get hurt, so I'm not saying he did it on purpose, but it just didn't work out that way. Um, yeah, it's just a mess.
Yeah, that's a nice way to say it. So yeah, they only got 4 picks.
That's a piece of cake.
The Patriots, who are off minding their business, have the Panthers' third and sixth round pick because of the Stephon Gilmore trade.
I know he wish he wasn't there. I forgot about him.
Right.
He
So,
wish he could go back in time.
mhm.
He
so
wish- Mm-mm.
decisions. Oh, Brian Burns is in a contract year. Just want to throw that out there. So one of the best edge rushers in the league is entering his contract year. So I'm sure that's not going to stop people from wanting to pick up the phone and pester you about picks, knowing that you don't have any. You got other teams who are like Philly has 2 firsts. You got other teams who are doing good this year with picks from bad teams, and you yourself a bad team. Like to me, it was just like this was a matter of time. Like, dude, you went Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield back to back.
Like, come on.
Like they
What was the thought process with this?
they gave you the Sam Darnold mulligan, and you was like, boom, Baker Mayfield. Why? That's what you did. That's what you did. All right, so we'll start with you. An early surprise and early disappointment from this young NFL season, and then Ray, you as well.
Let's see. I mean, honestly, well, I don't really want to 100% say surprise because I feel like after the draft, on paper, they had a lot of good players. But to actually see it kind of look like something at times, I'm going to say the Jets because I don't know what's going on. Like, I don't think the Jets have ever been good in my entire lifetime, like ever. And so to see them like actually putting together decent games is kind of astonishing. But I mean, Bryce Hall, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, I mean, the defense. And I mean, they're actually playing defense, and I'd be remiss to talk about, of course, the quarterback, Zach Wilson. They're actually looking like a decent team. Now how long it will stay that way, is one thing. But I would say that I was surprised to see it actually like work because I feel like in the past, like the Jets have had, some top tier names, probably not as much as they have now because they had a lot of picks in the draft and they got a lot of good young talent that just started. And then to see, to kind of see them like evolve into something, the comeback against the Browns, granted it was with Joe Flacco, who became young out of nowhere. So to see that, and then granted, we know the Dolphins are kind of spiraling right now, but a win is a win against a division team. So I would say them as far as like a good surprise, in a sense. For me, a bad surprise, I'm kind of torn between three. Like, it's a little hard to pick. I don't want to pick on Cardell's Broncos because when I tell y'all that Thursday night game, I was like, hey, I'm going to sleep. What is happening right now? It's bad. It's bad, but they have so much talent, so I don't understand why it's so bad. But I do understand why it's so bad because I don't know what their decision making was when they came to picking Nathaniel Hackett as a coach. Granted, I honestly feel like the only reason they picked him was because they thought that he could assuage, Aaron Rodgers to come on over. That's what I think they thought. It didn't happen, and they were like, ugh, now what do we do? And now they're just kind of rolling with the punches. But it looked bad. And like the decision making, and just like we talked about last week, your coach has a coach. Like, what is that? Like, your head coach got a head coach. Like, yeah, I gotta check in with him first to see if I can tell y'all what to do. It's just wow. So it's between that. It's between granted. I honestly didn't think they would be good anyway, but it was a lot of talk in the offseason about the Raiders. They don't look good to me. I mean, granted, their defense looked good last night. Max Crosby and Chandler Jones. But I just don't believe in Derek Carr. I'm sorry. I might be the only one. I don't believe it. Devontae and Aaron Rodgers miss each other so much right now. Like, a lot of times we're talking about Devontae Adams missing Aaron. Like, Aaron missed him too. Like, they miss each other. So they both probably like, dang, what the heck is we doing in the off season? Like, why couldn't you make up your mind? Why couldn't you make up? They're hating each other. They're hating themselves right now because, I mean, Devontae about to get suspended because he was so angry. He about to get suspended for a game for pushing a media credential person who has filed a police report at the Kansas City Police Department, which I think is whack, but I get it. You get your 15 minutes of fame or whatever. But that's how upset he is. That, I mean, they're what, 1-4?
Yeah.
In the NFC West. Granted, I don't think the NFC West is pretty that great because like the Chargers are going through with injuries. It's a toss up between them two.
All right. And yeah, just with the Devontae Adams thing, saw another view of it today where it looked like dude just jumped in front of him. There's a view of just following Devontae, and dude like literally looks like he just walks out of nowhere. So I wish him the best with what he thinks he's about to get, because if multiple views are showed, I don't think he's about to get anything. I think he might get fined, but I don't know. But
I think he'll suspend it. I don't know. I mean, I don't.
The NFL's special, so.
That's what I'm saying. The NFL picks and chooses when they want to stand up for stuff. I think this is an opportunity they'll use to stand up for something.
They're about to enforce that, but roughing the passers, there's an epidemic right now with roughing the passer calls.
I think they'll use it as a ploy, to say no matter how upset you are, think about it. When Tom Brady, I forgot who they were playing. They might have been the Packers when he was demolishing all of the tablets on the sideline. Like the next day, the league sent out a memo to everybody. If you demolish stuff on the sidelines, this is what's going to happen.
I feel like he was being extra though.
I think they're going to use it as another precursor to that. Like they're going to say, no matter how upset you are, you can't just push media credential people that are on the field.
That's fair. And
that's what I think they'll do. And he's black. Like, come on.
And dude's about to make it tougher for photographers down there too, because that's the other side of it. If he wins anything out of this, people about to get restricted. Just because one, and it was funny because I seen like other credentialed like photographers come out and be like, "You're not supposed to walk across there during that time. You know better. What were you doing? Part of the risk of being down here, you might get hit." But Ray. Surprise, early disappointment, and it's wonderful NFL season. What you got first?
Shoot, man, early surprise is the Cowboys. I expected the ship to sink immediately when Dak went down. To be perfectly honest, And Cooper Rush, he's holding serve. I mean, he's not doing anything spectacular, but he's not losing games. Then defense basically pitching shutouts, man. Like they're like, I think they're third in the league in points allowed, and
They've
and
allowed
he's
20.
doing his job. He's not making mistakes, and that's all you can ask. Like, if your defense is playing that well, the least you can do is not lose the game, man. Like, just manage the game, play within yourself. Don't try to be a hero. The defense is being a hero right now. That's taken care of. They're performing above expectations. They're filling the gap for Dak not being there. All you have to do is be a C student. And he's doing that to his credit, man. And they're 4-1 because of it. I didn't expect this. So yeah, man, that's good to see. Hopefully, he can keep it up till Dak comes back. And for the love of God, if I see one more, it's going to be a quarterback controversy thing. Like, no, it's not. Like, get out of here, man. Like, that's just foolishness. But whatever. That's people got a people, So, but yeah, there is no controversy. He's just keeping the seat warm. Everybody knows it. I don't even know why those conversations have been taking place.
It's Jerry's fault. You know that. It's Jerry's fault, and it's also when I tell y'all, I think nowadays, like, I can't even look at him anymore. Like, if I hear Michael Irvin talk one more time, like, I just can't. Like, it's both of their faults. That's why it's a controversy, because he's saying Rush we trust, and he's oh God, he's terrible.
Yeah, and disappointment, man. Yeah, I gotta go with the Raiders. Like, yeah, 1-4. It's not a good look, and they're like finding creative ways to lose. Like, I just don't understand it, man. But yeah, I didn't expect them to come out like this. They're not world beaters or anything, but I thought they'd be better than 1-4 at this point. I don't know what they got to do to turn that around. And then the Devontae Adams thing. Kudos to that guy for because I'd have done the same thing. Like, I'm just being honest, man. If an NFL player pushes me,
we laid out. I probably wouldn't even got up.
What? I'll be still laying there. Look here. Yeah. So, hey, man. Hopefully it's not going to cause anything drastic on Devontae's end. This will be a lesson learned. Just, you got to keep it cool no matter what the situation is. And yeah, the guy ran out into an area where he shouldn't have been, but though you ain't have to two-hand push him.
It didn't look at him.
You can disguise it, man. Just
I feel like
disguise.
he AI'd him now. I feel like he did the AI Tyronn Lue step over too.
Just run him over and act like you didn't see him. Like, that's a. I think that's a better defense, man. But that was basically what the F are you doing in my way type situation. Which is understandable, because I don't think he's expecting somebody to dart across him when he's trying to go into the tunnel. But yeah, you can't do that, dude.
Yeah, my biggest disappointment, the Packers. I know the AFC teams are tripping, but I was told the Packers were going to come in this year, kick everybody's butt, everything was going to be great, Aaron Rodgers can make anything work, and the NFC was sweet, and hold on, let me check my notes. You just lost to the Giants, who don't have NFL wide receivers available. You lost to a team where they can only do one thing. You were aware of that. And they did that one thing in so many different ways. You legit have been prepared for this with every playoff exit you've had recently to the team that I root for. You know what a run game can do to you. Right? You just let Saquon and them they were running Wildcat on you. That's just disheartening, sir. You're looking up at Kirk Cousins in your division. You're looking up at them, at the Vikings. At the Vikings. I think what was this my big disappointment. Then I give my biggest surprise to the Giants, man. I shout out to Daboll because he's over there cooking with an empty kitchen. That pantry is bare. Sorry, Washington, because there's a bunch of talent over there. Daboll, I don't even know if he has a quarterback. Saquon just got back to life, and he's over there being super productive. Everybody on defense is pretty much young. That O-line is super young. And they don't have wide receivers.
They spend all their money on one and he don't never play.
Thank you. Like, they put all their eggs in one basket and the basket had a hole in it. So I don't know what you...
75 mil in his pocket on the field.
They out here, Daniel Jones and Saquon out here running the wishbone. And they got you up out of there in London. They traveled over the water and got you up out of there, Green Bay. That's disgusting. But for Daboll, credit to him. Imagine what he could do when he gets some talent. So credit to him. I got to give him credit. So for other coaches looking for excuses, yeah, that's tough. I don't even know how you can go upstairs and say anything crazy. I could have been on there. I'd come downstairs. Do you see what Brian Daboll has to work with? I'm paying for this, and this. Why are we struggling? It's madness, man. But I want to thank you guys for tuning in as always. We truly appreciate it. We'll be back next week, same time, same time as always. Don't forget you can watch on our Roku channel. All you got to do is if you have a Roku television device, in the search box, type in the Focus TV, double tap OK, add the channel, obviously get the weekly installment of the Focus TV. And then, as Ray mentioned earlier, Wizards Outlook season starting. We'll be talking to you guys Friday night. We talked to you guys last night. And then, next week, next Wednesday and Friday, man, Wizards games will be popping up like every couple of days, it feels like. So can't wait for that to start. College basketball, literally, I think media days and stuff like next week. So that's right back. And then obviously you can watch the show Friday nights at 10 p.m. with DCTV. If you live outside the city, all you have to do is go to dctv.org and you can stream the show there live. And don't forget to follow the Focus TV and all your social media mediums. And get over to thefocustv.com. So for Octavia, Ray, and myself, y'all have a great week.